Since Halo Infinite has released the Alpha Zombies game mode into the Infection playlist, I have actually been playing a lot of it. And I have to say, it's fun and one of the few bright spots in Halo Infinite. What makes the game mode better, in my opinion, than the Season 3 version of Infection is the fact that it is simpler and more akin to the Halo Reach version of Infection that I personally preferred. I wish we got this version of Infection back during Season 3 because the version we got had a little too much in it, in my opinion. I remember using a BR on that version and I immediately knew it was bad. All you need in Infection is a pistol and shotgun. You don't need a BR, you don't need the commando or any other weapon. I can respect 343 for trying something new with Infection, but if something isn't broken, don't fix it, especially when the whole point of Season 3 was to introduce Infection to Halo Infinite. So for the first part of the video, I'm going to talk about the positives of the game mode, and then I will discuss what needs to be fixed and how. The first good thing I want to talk about in Alpha Zombies is the maps. Except for an exploit on Stage Fright, I actually think the maps in Alpha Zombies are excellent, especially Aquarius. The small size of the map makes it fun to play both Infected and Survivor, and I even got my first Hell's Janitor medal on that map. I also enjoyed Illusion for Alpha Zombies 2. The map may be bigger than Aquarius, but it has all sorts of corners and hallways for zombies to ambush you from, and the little room survivors like to huddle up in isn't too bad of a spot for Infected to deal with. If we get more maps for Alpha Zombies in the future, I would suggest Haven from Halo 4, or any close quarter maps, because those tend to play the best. The next good point about Alpha Zombies is that it's really fun to play. Now, I know that might not sound like a good point, but for me personally, Halo Infinite hasn't really been making any new game modes that I've wanted to put any real time into. So Alpha Zombies has been a breath of fresh air and actually pretty addicting to play. Also, side note, but with the addition of the Avenger, 343 needs to bring back OG Breakout from Halo 5, because that was another great game mode that they abandoned, and I want it to come back into Halo Infinite. The last good thing about Alpha Zombies is that it's a more simplified design of Infection. Like I said earlier, it's a lot more like Halo Reach Infection, and in my biased opinion, that was a better version of it. I felt like other Halo titles, including Season 3 Infection, always tried making a new twist on the game mode. And sometimes it works out. I did enjoy Halo 4 Infection back in the day. But more often than not, the twist just made the game mode less fun to play. Now, Halo Infinite's Alpha Zombies is not perfect, and I have gripes, but it's good enough that I've constantly been playing since they released it. Now that we've talked about the goods of Alpha Zombies and Halo Infinite, let's talk about what sucks. The first and biggest bad point for Alpha Zombies is that the balancing isn't that great. In the current iteration of Alpha Zombies, the survivors are too powerful. They have the Bulldog, which is a short to medium range shotgun, Sidekick, a short to medium range pistol, and the survivors also have thrusters, which means that in tight situations, the survivors can move faster than Infected. The Infected, on the other hand, have slightly faster moving, higher jumping, and the sword, which is a melee weapon. The Infected have no real way to deal with the survivors except in throwing their numbers at them, and sometimes that works. But if the survivors are not brain dead, then all they need to do is camp on higher elevation or camp in a narrow hallway where they can gun down the Infected when they charge. And it's way easier to deal with the Infected now than before because the Bulldog is way better in Infection than the pump action shotgun was, which was a weapon that was a traditional shotgun unlike the Bulldog currently is. I'm not asking for big rebalancing because I think it's on the right path. But the best way to rebalance the mode is to give the thrusters to the Infected and remove it for the survivors. I also believe some maps like Pipeline, Livefire, Jotun, Plunderland, and Catalyst, the Infected should have the grappling hook instead of thrusters, because those maps have verticality that is hard for the Infected to deal with when survivors camp the high ground. I'd also like to see the Bulldog replaced with the OG Halo shotgun, but realistically that's probably not going to happen because it took us a long time to get a new gun, because the last one we had before the Avenger was the DMR, which came in Season 3. The next negative point that I actually really want 343 to look at is that they need to plug up the hole that people use in the map Stage Fright. I have used that spot and been abused by survivors using that spot, and it needs to be blocked off so nobody takes advantage of it anymore because it's cheesy. It's easy to blame people for using the hole. I mean, I've done it, and I've had people use it against me, and it sucks. But at the same time, it's 343 that needs to fix that little exploit or whatever you want to call it, because it's obviously not intended, and it just doesn't make the match very good. It makes it extra long, and people survive that shouldn't survive, me included. The last negative point that I will discuss is that I wish 343 would stop putting me in matches of Alpha Zombie that have 2 rounds left, or is currently on the last round. When I wait around a minute to 3 minutes, I want to play a full match of Alpha Zombies, not half a match or a match almost over. I also hate it when I get put in a match that is halfway done as a zombie, and then when the last round happens, I get put in as a zombie again with no chance of being a survivor. I get that everyone should start out as a zombie at least 1 round, but I don't play Alpha Zombies to never be a survivor. So please, 343, just use bots when the game is almost over and not me. At this point, we are near the end of the video. Let me know what you think about Alpha Zombies in the comments. Do you agree with the changes I think it should have, or do you disagree? Thanks for watching the video, and...
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.